If you want to get better at beat making, it's really just a bunch of little simple things that we do to increase the workflow and make things flow. So the first step is when you're making melodies, for example, what I'll do is actually, like, instead of stopping and starting and stopping and starting and stopping and starting, that kills the vibe and you lose excitement. So what I do is I build in the playlist, like if I'm building a pattern, then let's say I have another idea. I'll go to a new pattern, add an instrument. Let's just add like a grand piano. So in the meantime, I'm going to grab a piano. And as the beat is playing, I'll add the pattern into the playlist and hit Control B to latch paste. So now when sorry, I got to talk over the thing. So now when the pattern's inside the playlist, so now when I build the pattern, I can hear it in context as I'm listening to the entire song instead of just starting, stopping, starting, stopping, start. Like, you need to hear stuff as a group. So now I'm going to go to my piano roll. Okay, so now I'm adding a piano layer. It's a little hard to hear, so let me crank it up. Now, let's say the pattern's a little short, which it's a little too short for this. I'll go back to the playlist, grab the edge, elongate it, and hit Control B again. But notice I'm really lowering the amount of times I stop the song. Also, layering is really important. This beat really didn't need piano. I'm just showing you what I would usually do for workflow purposes. Also, I like to open up the expression over time. So think about octaves. I might hear dun 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 dun. So let's add that. Okay, so I'm going to listen to my ear. Add that in. I'm going to send this to the same. On the master, that's why. Okay, so I forgot I had the halftime thing on there. So what was I saying here? Now I lost my train of thought. So okay, so the first step is moving. I'm producing as I'm moving. I'm not starting, stopping, starting, stopping, starting, stopping, unless I'm specifically recording something that needs me to do that. I keep the beat flowing, especially when drums come in. If you keep starting, stopping, starting, stopping, like every 3 seconds, you're just gonna kill the vibe. Okay. I'm not telling you exactly what you have to do, just things that I do. Nextly is opening up the energy over time. So as you saw with the piano, the only thing I did was just change the octave. And when you add brighter, higher frequencies, it opens up the track. So it naturally feels like it's going upward in energy simply by going up an octave. Again, this track doesn't really need a piano. It's just for demonstration purposes. But the third thing is, if your melodies are getting stale or you just need a different vibe, add effects so that over time you could blend the effects in and out and it feels like a new melody. So here we have the halftime effect here. Okay, so what I'll do is, I'm trying to think of a faster way to do this. I'm going to group my melody so that we don't have to hear it on my voice every single time that happens. You could do this with your melodies too. You could group your melodies, okay? So that you have specific effects that happen on a group. Let's call this group. So now I'm going to automate this over time. So the effect does not play all the way through the song. You want to create contrast. Contrast means the difference between stuff. So now I'm turning it off, turning it back on. And now I just have to route my sounds to that group in order for them to play. And I have to select the group and make sure we have the output to the master there. Okay, so where are my sounds here? This one's not routed. Okay. So don't underestimate effects as well. So if I were to add drums, I would make sure that I'm like, the beat doesn't really need piano or drums. But let's say my ear hears another melody. Instead of stopping the beat, making a new pattern, I'll click in the top left, go to make unique, and this will create a new pattern for me. And then I could just hit Control B like before to latch paste. So let's say I have an idea for when it goes to halftime. I want it to do something else. So I want to go dun, 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 dun. Now I need to hear this thing, but it's going through the group. So I'm going to turn this effect off temporarily. Go to pattern mode. Dun, dun. This only goes but so high, so let's pull it down. Let's just repeat it. Let's repeat it. Okay, so this is what I might do too if your beats are getting stale. Try taking away stuff and then bringing it back in. So let's bring in the piano during the halftime effect and let's take something out. Let's take out that main bell. And again, we're gonna just hit Control B to latch paste. So what I'm saying is when you create emotion and fluidity, it's a lot easier to make changes and you'll be in the flow of the beat. And so also this helps you with arranging because then you can track the energy of the track more so than like the patterns that are happening. I think this melody is perfect the way it is right here. I'm going to replay the one section because I mixed up the patterns here. So I'll make some notes as we listen back. Another thing is I'll separate the mixing from the production. Production requires lower latency so you can play your MIDI controllers or play on your keyboard. Now, it's very hard to start adding mixing plugins and to keep low latency. So that's why I separate the mixing process most of the time and try to get the best sound starting with. But sometimes the sounds require so many effects that you really have to know how to look ahead in production. And this is a whole skill of learning mixing. That's why I teach a whole course called Mixing Fundamentals at premium.busyworksbeats.com. I'll leave a link below because once you understand mixing, you could see ahead. So instead of adding a bunch of effects and reverb and all this type of stuff to the sound and then trying to play the sound and you have low latency, you have long latency, I meant to say, or a lot of latency, and then the track becomes all flooded and muddy, you can start to see ahead to say, okay, I know where I could take this bell sound. I'm just not going to add the plugin right this second. Okay, so that's what mixing gives you, is like seeing the future of what your song could be. And those are my workflow tips. Not hot keys and shortcuts, just simple like mindset things. All right, so that is how I would do it. And if you want to learn, also to not get stuck, you guys have to learn music theory. It's another reason a lot of people get stuck in their workflow. They're trying to figure out the next note and the next note and the next note. There's a system behind it. So go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. I'll leave a link below. It's very important to learn how to build melodies from scratch, get the emotions out of your chord progressions. How do you move to the next note in your melody? There's a process behind it. All right, so I teach that at busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. Thank you for watching. It's Game from busyworksbeats.com. Peace.